Let me tell you how one stubborn car, a mountain of paperwork, and a president on a power trip ended up flipping my neighborhood inside out and, somehow, putting things back together. Better than before. You ever see your own car get booted and stickered by the cops, right in your driveway, while the HOA president's standing there, finger pointed, acting like she just caught John Dillinger? That's exactly how it started for me. That 1985 Monte Carlo, a project car I'd spent months chasing down and twice as long restoring, had a wheel lock, a bright yellow police sticker, and Karen Blackwood, HOA president, grinning like she'd finally won. And then she hit me with, "That's my son's car. He stole it." I swear, the whole block went silent. No lawnmowers, no basketballs, just the tick of that cooling V8 and sunlight bouncing off chrome. Every nosy neighbor was peeking through curtains, pretending to mind their business but hanging on every word. Even Mrs. Hamilton's TV, blaring her afternoon drama, faded into the background. Here's the crazy part. She had cops with her, 2 of them, all business. The senior officer, Reynolds, asked for my paperwork in that flat, calm way, but you could see he'd rather be anywhere else. And behind him, Karen's practically shaking with anticipation, arms crossed, waiting for me to slip up. Now, I've been a black man in America my whole life, so I know the drill. Slow movements, steady voice, keep your hands visible. I walked over to my workbench, told them exactly what I was doing, and handed over every document I had. Title, registration, notarized bill of sale, all neatly in plastic sleeves. Years of dealing with bureaucracy will do that to you. Reynolds checks every number, cross-references the VIN, doesn't even blink when Karen starts shrieking, "Those are fake. That's Ethan's car. It was here first." Her son, poor kid, just shuffled up, red-faced, looking like he wanted the earth to swallow him. Reynolds tells her, "Ma'am, everything's legit, but we'll need to look into this further." And then they slap a wheel lock on my Monte Carlo, stick a police hold on the windshield, and say, "Don't touch it." Karen's got that victory smile, like she just outplayed everyone. I'm standing there in my own driveway, accused of stealing my own car, because the president of the HOA decided her family deserved it more. You'd think that would be the end, but nah, it was just the opening round. And let me tell you, Karen made one huge mistake. She picked a fight with the wrong neighbor. I know how to document, how to play the long game, and, yeah, how to fight back with paper and patience. Let me back up a second, because you gotta understand this wasn't really about the car. The Monte Carlo had sat abandoned for months, a classic with good bones and a backstory. Most folks walked right past it, but I'm a car guy, and something about that sun-faded paint and those hydraulic parts stashed in the trunk spoke to me. The DMV process for abandoned vehicles is no joke. Photos from every angle, letters to last owners. Forms stacked 3 inches high. It took months, cost me more than a few late nights and $230 in fees, but I did it right. When I finally got that clean title in the mail, my old man told me, "You did it the right way, son. That car was mine, fair and square." But Karen? She just saw a chance to play queen bee. 1 week after my title arrives, she shows up at my door, business suit. Pressed, voice all sweet, but sharp underneath. "We need to talk about that vehicle." She called it a gang car. Told me the neighbors were scared, that it wasn't appropriate for the community. I pulled out the HOA covenants. I'd read every line, highlighted every part about parking, restoration, you name it. The rules said nothing about lowriders or classic cars in your own garage. Registered, insured, not leaking, perfectly legal. Didn't matter. She told me, "I know what's best for this community. The board will be reviewing your situation." Then she started snapping photos of every car, every angle of my garage, clearly building a case. I did my own digging, looked up her history, found out she'd been HOA president only 6 months, and most of her enforcements were aimed at people who didn't fit her idea of neighborhood material. Her next move? She taped a violation notice on my door, vague but threatening. $200 a day if I didn't move my car. So I went on the offensive, emailed the whole board, cited state law, attached all my paperwork. Board Secretary Janet Wong actually thanked me for the documentation. But Karen doubled down, dragging me through email. Wars and, soon, a social media campaign targeting my car as suspicious. She never went after the guy with the jacked-up truck, Confederate flag stickers, and illegal exhaust. Nope. Just me and my lowrider. The neighborhood started splitting. Some folks bought Karen's act. Others, like Mrs. Hamilton, saw right through it and called her out for what it was, coded discrimination. Plain and simple. Karen kept ratcheting up the pressure. Petitions, community safety meetings where I wasn't invited, presentations tying my car to crime stats from other cities. It was wild. The way she spun everything to make herself the hero. But I wasn't just sitting on my hands. I installed security cameras, started saving every email, every post, every threatening note. Other families reached out. Turns out Karen had a pattern. 9 out of 12 complaints against people of color, surprise CPS visits, folks moving out just to get away from her. I built a file as thick as a phone book. And then came the twist. She'd never even registered her son's name on a car, never filed a theft report, and the DMV's records showed the Monte Carlo sitting abandoned before she ever moved in. When I finally confronted her with all that, she snapped. The community should decide who gets the car. That's when I took my evidence to the DMV fraud unit, the sheriff's auto, theft detectives, and the district attorney. I filed every complaint I could, civil rights, real estate board, fair housing, you name it. Within a week, the tide turned. Karen started scrubbing her posts, board members distanced themselves, and even code enforcement found 0 violations in my garage. The final nail? My cameras caught Karen herself, late at night, bolt cutters in hand, trying to cut the police wheel lock. Caught in 4K. Next day, I called Officer Reynolds. He watched the footage, shook his head, and told her she was facing felony tampering. She called the cops on me. For illegal surveillance. Didn't work. This time, the neighborhood got to watch the drama unfold at a public hearing. Residents packed the room, heard every detail, and watched Karen's own words and actions play on the big screen. The board voted her out. The DA filed charges, false reporting, harassment, evidence tampering. The judge made her pay fines, do community service with a legal aid group, and suspended her real estate license for good. The HOA issued an apology and changed its policies. And you know what? Karen moved out, quiet as a mouse, while her son, Ethan, stayed and ended up learning restoration in my garage. He turned out to be a good kid caught in a bad spot, and working together kind of healed both of us. The Monte Carlo? Finished, better than new. The first car show we held brought everyone out. Mrs. Hamilton's classic Camaro, Craig's detailed truck, no more flags. Families who'd once been targeted by Karen, all together. Finally neighbors again. Kids learned about cars, girls and boys both, and the whole community started looking out for each other instead of looking over their shoulders. You ask me what I learned? Sometimes the fight isn't about the car at all. It's about whether people in power get to trample the rules and bully anyone who doesn't fit their mold. My battle proved the law still works, if you've got the grit to use it. In the end, Karen's conviction became a warning to every would-be neighborhood tyrant. Document everything, fight for your rights, and never let someone's title scare you out of what's rightfully yours. So let me throw it to you. What would you do if your HOA tried to steal your property? Ever been targeted for not fitting the community standard? Drop your story in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from, and let's talk about what justice and real community actually look like.